OPD, we do have a status quorum. The media have been notified. So at this time, we have our invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Dr. Boston.
Let us stand and let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, Lord God, it's again another time, Lord, that we assemble ourselves together here today. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to come into a new year. Lord, we thank you for all that you have done for us in the past. And Lord, we thank you for what you're going to do for us in this new year and beyond. We ask you to bless each and every individual that's present with us today. Bless our commission members, Lord. Help us to make the decisions, Lord, that will be pleasing to you, especially, Lord, and also that are pleasing to the citizens of Jasper County. Father, we thank you for all your many blessings. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Boston, for leading us in the application and pledge of allegiance. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve our agenda for this afternoon.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jenkins, second by Dr. Butler. Ready for questions? Hearing none, all in favor of such motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Hearing none. The next thing on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the November 12th, 2024 meeting. Dr. Butler, ready for question? Hearing none, all in favor of such motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers? Hearing none. The next thing on our agenda this evening is the electing of officers for the 2025 year. At this time, I'll turn this over to Ms. Wagner where we can elect officers.
Good evening. I'll open the floor for nominations of chairman.
Madam Secretary, after consulting with our present chairman, he has graciously let me know that he would be willing to accept the nomination as chairman for the year 2025. Therefore, at this point, I would like to nominate Alex Pinckney as our chairman for 2025.
Second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations?
Madam Chairman, I move that the nomination come to close with said one name.
Okay, and we'll do a roll call vote. Start with Mr. Jenkins. How do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Pinckney?
Aye.
Dr.
Aye.
Watson? And thank you. Well, congratulations, Mr. Pinckney. I'll turn the meeting back over to you to carry out the rest of the nominations for officers.
Okay, this time I open the floor for nomination for vice chairman.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Jenkins, I offer a motion that we keep our same officers from the year, not 2024 through the year 2025.
You have heard the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second that.
Motion has been made and second that all officers stay in place. And it's been made by Mr. Jenkins, second by Mr. Lee. Ready for question? Hearing none, all in favor of such motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposers at the same time? No opposers, so Dr. Butler will be the vice chairman. Ms. Wagner will be our secretary. And our appointee who represents the South Ridge will be Mr. Jenkins. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is new business. Proposed zoning map amendment, rule attraction, zoning map tax number 05200010044.
Good evening. The subject property consists of 465.6 acres and is located at 1547 Rivers Hill Road. The applicant has requested a zoning map amendment to have the property designated as resource extraction. The property is currently zoned rural preservation and is registered with the tax assessor's office as agricultural. The applicant would like to build a 15 to 20 acre lake and proposes to remove the excavated materials from the site, which requires a mining permit from the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services and Jasper County. In accordance with the Jasper County zoning ordinance, any mining or excavation activity is only allowed within the resource extraction zone. According to the 2018 Jasper County Comprehensive Plan, the future land use map identifies this area as rural conservation, which are areas that seeks to promote and protect the character of Jasper County that largely exists today outside of the municipalities. Non-residential development may be appropriate if it is buffered correctly. The properties immediately adjacent to the site are zoned rural preservation and residential. The adjacent land uses are single family, residential, and undeveloped properties. While Rivers Hill is considered to be a rural area, the community itself is comprised of approximately 100 residences located within 1 mile of the subject property. The property is accessed by Rivers Hill Road, which is a 2-lane state-maintained road classified as a minor collector road. The intent of the resource extraction zone is to protect, preserve, sustain, and protect activities which specifically extract or harvest natural resources for commercial or industrial purposes, such as mining, excavations, excavation operations, and activities, while concurrently ensuring protection of the health, safety, and welfare of nearby residents and the value of nearby property. The Resource Extraction District will protect economically important mineral resources of the county for current and future use, and will protect existing land uses adjacent to potential lands from undue harm that may result from mineral extraction activity. Businesses extracting resources are essential activities that may present unique challenges when considering adjacent properties and protection of public health, safety, and welfare. However, it is intended that this zoning classification only apply to those portions of the county where the potential for conflict between adjacent current and future land uses and the mineral extraction activities are minimal. Any zoning map amendment to designate a property as resource extraction should be carefully considered by assessing the following factors, including but not limited to impact on environmentally sensitive areas and critical natural resources, impact on health, safety, and welfare of the Jasper County residents, impact on the character of existing communities, impact on adjacent land value, traffic generation, and potential mitigation, and any other factors considered essential to address. In the Resource Extraction District, mining is allowed as a conditional use. It's the only zoning designation that allows a mining operation. Those conditions are that the mine and a mine operation must have all required state and federal permits, meet the requirements of all state and federal statutes and regulations, that the mining operation is set back from a property line that's adjacent to the site, and zone rural preservation would be 300 feet and 1,000 feet from a residential zone property. Where there's an existing structure on a rural preservation site, then the setback would be 1,000 feet. The applicant has provided a site map showing a 30-acre designated area for the lake, which also shows the lake being set back from the property lines 300 feet from vacant properties zoned rural preservation and 1,000 feet from the adjacent property zoned residential. So the site will be adequately buffered. Additionally, the applicant provided a traffic summary provided by bioengineering, which estimates the mining operation lasting 2 to 5 years, with 15 trucks a day operating to remove 100 loads of dirt a day, generating 20 to 30 truck trips an hour, totaling 200 trips a day. The property was posted with a red zoning application sign, and notices were sent to all property owners located within 1,000 feet of the subject property. due to the number of residences located near the site and ensuring protection of the health, safety, welfare of nearby residents and the value of nearby property, staff does not recommend approval of this application. I'll pull up the maps that's in your attached to these to this staff report. I also noticed the applicant is here tonight, and I would imagine some of the community members who have received letters are here as well.
Would the applicant come up, state your name for the record?
Yeah, my name is Adrian Blocker, and so I appreciate Mr. Chairman and the rest of the board here. You know what I'd like to do is, and I'd like to change my proposal. I don't want the 30 acres to be a lake. I did that 30 acres to provide a buffer around building a 10-acre lake, and I fully support rural preservation. And I grew up on a farm, and I'm building a house there. I plan to move there as soon as I can. So I fully support the rural preservation for the community. I grew up in a community like that, and but you know what I've got is just a lot of pine plantation, and I don't think South Carolina needs any more pine plantations. So I'd like to build probably a 10-acre lake, but I did the 30 acres just to be able to buffer it for workers and other things, but I can certainly reduce that if I need to be. But anyway, that's what I'd like to do. And the only reason I'm having to change the designation of the property is because that's a requirement from the county. And as soon as the lake is built, I'd like to change it back to rural preservation. I'm only doing this is because that's kind of the process that the county has put in place. So that's what I'd like to do. Plan on being a great neighbor to all of my neighbors up and down the road. And, you know, I see this just like, you know, log trucks or turf trucks or any other kind of trucks that are up and down the highway. This is not going to be a long-term deal. It's going to be a short-term, you know, deal. Get in, do the work, and then get out, and then put it back to rural preservation. So that's what I'd like to do. And I appreciate the support of the committee to do that forward.
Okay, at this time, Mr. Lee, you have any questions?
I think you covered my question there with that 30 acres, because it looked like some mixed information here for a while there. I was wondering about that in several different pieces of paper I'm looking at. So you're looking at 10 acres, what you're telling us?
Yeah, I really want a 10-acre lake, and it may not be quite that big, but I was thinking I needed to ask for a bigger buffer to allow people to operate. I wasn't sure about that.
Right. And then, so like this would eventually be your homestead on your property there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my kids are already picking out their house site, so
Yeah.
and I'm not gone yet.
What type of, I'm more so concerned about the routes that these trucks are going to be taking, because there's a lot of residential area just down the road from you. Beaver Dam has got some too on that sharp curve there. That's just my biggest thing. I know these trucks get rolling down the road, and I got a CDL. I know how it is, and that's just my biggest thing is as far as them traveling 200 trips a day, and then so the time span, from what I understood, was 3 to 5 years. Is that correct? To get the materials out?
No, so my plan is I'd like to do it within a year. I'd like to be in there and be out.
Okay.
And I don't have a contractor yet. So as soon as I get somebody to do the work, that's going to be part of my plan. Because I don't want those people hanging around for 3 to 5 years.
Right.
I want to get the work. I want to get the work done. You know, disturbance, just like it was a logging job. You know, get in, get it logged, if you will, and get out.
Right. So I mean, if it was to pass, I wouldn't want to prolong. It would need to be in a short time frame.
And so I could definitely, the time frame and the acreage is something that we can amend to get down closer to something that we're actually going to do.
Okay. No further questions.
Dr. Butler.
Lisa, Given that, excuse me just a second, given that he is looking to develop a smaller lake or pond or whatever it is, he still has to have a mining permit? I'm thinking back to the Bryans and when they built their pond on their property. I didn't think they had to go through that.
They did. They just, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services has an individual mining permit and a general mining permit. So they went with the smaller permit that was 5 acres, it didn't exceed 5 acres.
So if his pond were 5 acres, he wouldn't have to change his...
He still would, because he intends to remove the dirt from the site. And that was the same thing with the Bryans. They were removing the dirt from the site. It requires a South Carolina Department of Environmental Services permit.
So they were mining. I'm sorry, I'm talking about somebody else, but I'm trying to understand if there's a different way to do this other than, so.
Yeah, I don't really want to be in the mining business, you understand? That's not the point of this.
Well, the problem for me is that once we grant the right to do this, can he then enlarge this pond at will going through DHEC and the county's out of it?
If that entire area, the 465 acres, is rezoned to resource extraction, yes.
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to rezone 465 acres.
So we have the option of only rezoning a smaller portion that would contain it?
You know, so unfortunately the application given to us did reflect 465 acres. In the past, when we've had someone come in and just create, like they did in Bellinger Hill, 30 acres, they just rezoned just that portion, and they provided a plat that you could reference to say it's this portion of the 30-acre portion of the larger tract of land.
So that's my fault. I didn't fill out the application right somehow. Yeah, I'm doing exactly what you want me to do. Is really narrow that down to just a certain, whether it's 10 acres or you have to have a certain buffer around it or whatever. That's all I want to rezone.
And that would be something you'd have to work with Lisa. But for us, if we grant what you've requested, then you have 400 and whatever acres that you can
I don't want to do that.
dig the dirt up and make everybody's life that lives near you,
No,
well,
I wouldn't,
potentially.
I wouldn't even think about that. That's not what I do.
Mr. Jones help you out. I've been working with this block here a good bit on this property, so my name's John McKenzie. DHEC has certain requirements that they require as far as the zoning of any kind of digging and the resource extraction. So what they do is, like if he wants 10 acres, he has to buffer more than 10 acres for equipment, and we have to silk fence it off and screen it off. So if he wants 10 acres on the pond, then you have to give a bigger buffer, which is the 30 acres, and that allows vehicles to move around the equipment. You protect all of the wildlife and everything, like oil changes and sediment controls. So that's why the 30 acres pretty much has to be done to get 10 acres on the pond. So they make you zone it through DHEC. You have to zone the area that you want to do the resource extraction and dig the pond. But the road back in the property is part of the 30 acres. So whatever the distance of the road coming in and out is part of the 30 acres, and that's why they have to expand it. Now you have to draw it out, which we've already done. It's all drawn out on maps, and DHEC's got all that, and they're going through the process now of getting it approved. So if you look at the property, the pond is about the midsection of that property. It's the old county dirt road that used to run through there. If you guys remember, old school bus used to go through there. It's a hard surface road. It's already built. That was in existence for years and years. But part of that road is part of that 30 acres. That's what DHEC requires. Anything that's affected by the equipment going in and out. But the full zone will be buffered with screening to prevent any spillage or anything of that from the machines. You know, you run a diesel fuel or whatever. Then like Adrian says, he doesn't want to zone the whole thing, just the area effective because that's what the county requires is the zoning of it. And so does DHEC for the resource extraction. And then he wants to put this back into rural preservation because he's gonna build his house on there, which he's almost finished with the plans now. The barn has already been built. We built that for him. So he's trying to get here so he can get moved in, and part of this is his full plan to get it done.
Thank you for that information, but you understand what I'm saying, that the application presented to us is asking for rezoning of the entire
Yeah, that's my mistake.
465 acres. And I understand
Yeah.
that's a problem, but it's a problem for us to grant that rezoning
Well-
because you then, and life happens.
See, I drew
I
it.
mean, people sell property, people pass away,
See, I
property
drew it,
becomes.
I drew it off. That's what I wanted to rezone.
Okay, but
I never intended for the whole thing to be.
okay, well, that's something that Lisa would have to deal with.
Yeah, we would need like, I mean, you're showing it from the lot lines, but you would, if this is gonna be the boundary of the property, you would need to show where the mine is in relation to that.
That is it.
Well, that's-
So this is from the far boundary then. See, this is from
That's
over
1,000 feet.
here.
That's 1,000
Right.
feet and everything.
But what I'm saying,
Yeah, that's the 30 acres in total that I had to have in order to do the 10 acres.
so if you're cutting out a 30-acre tract, then we need to know where the pond is in here and how far away from these property lines, because you're creating a new property. You either have to create a new property or you are rezoning the whole entire piece. You have one piece of property, it all has the same tax map number.
That doesn't make sense. If
Okay.
I own all the property around it.
Okay, so if I'm following this correctly, then all he'd have to do is survey that one section out and have that one section surveyed out to be rezoned, correct?
No, but then I have to be 1,000 feet from myself.
Do you have a residence there?
Not yet, but
The house plan is almost finished and you will have one there. But the residence will be off to the side over here. He's already got that piece of property all the way on the other side. That's probably a mile long distance from one end to the other. The residence house spot on that 470 acres has already been surveyed out.
So when we rezone, we identify by tax map numbers. I mean, without a second property, you have to send in the whole 465. There's not two parcel numbers there, there's only one.
So you can't do just a spot within the parcel.
Not for rezoning, because the property is identified by tax map numbers.
Okay, so if he surveys that one section out and just applies to rezone that surveyed section, then it would give it a new tax map.
That's right.
So
that doesn't make common sense to me.
Well,
is there another way we can do it that would?
that's Lisa's expertise, not mine. My input is that I'm concerned about rezoning 470 acres and issuing a permit that will allow mining on that entire piece.
Me too, that's not what I want.
I understand that, but she's in charge of how that works. So that was my concern. The other concern I have has to do with the traffic. I mean, that is, and I read over some of the information, and it looks like you're taking some steps to reduce the amount of dust. But the roads are a real problem. I'll tell you, somebody
Like I
is.
say, it's really no different than logging a tract of land. You go in and log in and you're done.
Well, this is going to be for 5 years.
No, it's
Loggers-
not. It's not going to be.
Well, that's what my information said, 2 to 5 years. So going into it, you're advising the residents that live there, this can be 5 years. I'm getting permission to do this for 2 to 5 years.
Right, so I want to change that, because that's not my intent either. Not knowing the process you guys have, I was trying to say, okay, here's the scope of it. And then but personally, I want to do something a lot smaller. And I was thinking I needed to define something bigger in order to have the flexibility around that. But that's not my intention.
Okay, but once this body grants the right for you to do that, it's out of our hands, and that leaves all the people that live nearby we hang them out to dry. So up front, we need to ask the questions that we're talking about right now, so that we can be sure that we're protecting
So I'll-
everybody
so
while
I'll get
granting you
with-
the use of your property.
I'll get with Lisa and better define this, because my intention is, like I said, to do a 10-acre pond within a year.
Okay, well, those are all the questions I have. You understand
Yeah, I
what we're
understand.
trying to say? We're trying to protect everybody.
In all reality, a 10-acre pond can be extracted and removed in 5 or 6 months. I think just under his application, Mr. Graham will kind of agree with it. He understands the trucking business. The dirt can be moved. I can dig the 10-acre pond in 2 months. It's done.
Yeah.
It's just moving the dirt. So maybe if we just put it under a different application and bring it back before you and just use a 12-month. And the reason we give a little extra time is because of weather and rain and, you know, stuff that we've been through here with the weather lately. That gives you a little bit of time, but you won't have that many trucks running in that time frame.
Yeah.
Because 10 acres is not that much dirt. You're not gonna have that many trucks running for 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
10 acres can be pulled out. It can really be done in 45 days. But weather and being able to get the dirt removed, 200 trucks a day for 5 years, that's a 100-acre pond in reality. You know, you
Right,
think
well,
about
but your
huge yards.
application would allow you to do
So
that.
I'll get with Lisa and kind of narrow this application down to something that's more acceptable.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You got some questions, Dr. Boston?
Resource extraction, the biggest part of that, I mean, if I had that amount of land, and I wanted to dig a 10-acre pond, if I didn't want to remove the dirt, I could do it.
If you had this much land, yes, you could.
Right, so you can dig your pond, but the problem comes in when you want to extract the dirt and remove it and sell it.
Yeah.
So if you just want a pond, you can dig a pond.
Yeah, I know. That's
No
right.
problem.
Yeah,
So that doesn't need an amendment.
right.
But when you want to do mining, and it's considered mining, once you remove the dirt and sell it, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
you just want to dig a pond, leave the dirt there on 400 and some acres,
I know, but
that's not a problem.
you'd create a big old mound of dirt, which I don't want. I just want to get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, I've got maybe a couple of acre pond and not just, mid berms with it and stuff like that, but.
One thing, honestly, it helps pay
Yeah,
for.
yeah, I know that would help with the
getting
cost of
done.
digging the pond and all
Yeah.
that, 10 acres, but, the extraction part is, I think, where we come in with the zoning map amendments and the
Yeah.
trucks
Yeah.
and this, everything getting on the road, that's gonna cause a
Yeah,
problem.
I understand.
That's all I have.
Mr. Jenkins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first thought is safety. And I look around and I see all these citizens here today. If I'm coming down Pineland Road and I turn on 1547 Rivers Hill Road, how far would this project be back from these citizens? How close would this pond be to these citizens, or how far back?
Yeah,
would it be?
the Rivers Hill community is way on down the road. I don't know, Lisa, you can tell me, it's more than a mile.
Yeah, he's actually coming down a different road, so.
Oh, no, we'd be coming off of Grays Highway.
Coming off of Highway 3.
I'm just looking at the address before me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be coming from Pinewood. You come from the Grays Highway.
Three,
which is
right
there.
here.
Highway 3.
So
You
when I
turn down
come-
Rivers
And
Hill.
there's only a handful of houses there.
But if I come down 3 and I make a left or a right to go back into your project, how far would your project be back
I
in
think
that
it's
road?
a mile, maybe.
It's about 2.5 miles, and then about 2.5 miles from Highway 3. When you turn off Highway 3 down Rivers Hill, it's about 2 miles on the right-hand side.
Yeah, so, and that's the way that, as I understand it, that's the way the truck traffic would go.
So there's not that much citizen in this area, really.
I think there's 4 houses there. 4 houses.
I counted 25 on this side.
Yeah, 'cause when I see all those houses, I'm
And
just.
then there's these right on the other
Yeah,
side,
I'm just
they're adjacent
concerned.
to the
They
property.
won't be impacted at all.
Yeah, when we going by that. So, can't quite tell what you got there on the map. Where's Highway 3?
This is Highway 3
Yeah.
right here.
All right, turn on Rivers Hill.
This is Rivers Hill, where the red
Okay.
line is.
Right there, you done gone too far now.
Right there.
Yeah,
This is
right
your
there,
side.
right there.
Well,
Come to the right a little bit.
I think
That dirt road going in, that's where you go in.
I think I can alleviate everybody's concerns if I just need to give at least narrow this down to something that is more acceptable in terms of time frame. But I was thinking I needed to do it more.
Because, yeah, I'm just concerned about,
Going through this property.
yeah, when I saw those houses, I'm just concerned about 8, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning if you're going by all these systems to get the dirt out. And that's why my concern is how far you back off from the
Turn on
these people.
Yeah.
Where's this?
This property's here.
Yeah, so Lisa's going to do that.
You know, I don't know trucks, I don't know that much of trucks running by my house every day. If I live on this road.
Come out that yellow line.
Like I said, most of the houses are on beyond my
Right,
place.
that's what we were showing.
And so from my place back to Grace Highway, there's not that many people. The Rivers Hill community is on past my place, another mile or mile and a half maybe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just concerned about safety, because you know in the summertime when you're digging dirt and kids out of school, you know how curious they are when they're water in a
Yeah.
pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about
Yeah,
safety.
so what we'd be doing is set way back off the road. So
Okay.
you wouldn't know it unless you walk back in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's about 2,000 feet back in there.
10 acres, and you were saying 6 million. That's a lot of dirt to move.
No traffic.
Well,
A
you figure-
lot of dirt.
You figure it's 15,000 cubic yards per acre at 10 foot deep, 15,000 cubic yards. A truck will hold 16 cubic yards. So if you do 15,000 cubic yards, multiply that by 10 and divide it by 16, and that'll tell you how many trucks. Plus, we'll have to keep at least 1 acre of dirt on the property regardless. So we'd really be extracting about 9 acres, because they'll take at least 1 acre of dirt to build everything around it. So it's not that many trucks, just to show you how quick it will. If you allow me to just add this up for you real quick. So if you take, I'm just gonna get an average, it's not gonna be exact, but if you do,
Well, but by that time you move that dirt, that secondary road would be crumbled.
it already is. It's already crumbled. It needs paving bad.
That's true.
And that's,
That's what
But there's log trucks.
concerned about.
There's
A
log
log
trucks.
trucks go in place, and in 2 weeks they gone.
well, you got the log trucks, and you also have the grass farm.
turf
They run
trucks
turf
and-
trucks up and
and-
down that road every day with a truck farm.
And the ag trucks, everybody's using that road.
Yeah, I know, but grass truck, they go in there, 2 weeks, they can do a field, and they gone.
Right.
We talking
But
2
in 2
years.
weeks, every so often, right? It's not just 2 weeks and disappear. They cut that grass and sell it all the way up from spring to summer, or spring to winter. So there's more of that traffic coming down the road. And then the loggers use it a good bit, and several truckers already use that road.
So I'm gonna amend the permit based on what you guys are talking about and make it less than a year. Because like Johnny said, we can do it probably in 6 months. So I'll make it less than a year, and I'll narrow that permit size down to what DHEC wants.
Well, I mean, you could withdraw your application. We're not guaranteeing you come back, you still will get a favorable from this commission.
Yeah.
But I mean, what you acting for tonight on your application is just, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, so here again, that was me not knowing how to fill the application out. When we had that drawing up there, that's what I thought that was my intention, was just to rezone that piece right there based on what DHEC told me.
And Chairman Pinckney, it is possible something like this on the same piece of property, but only impacting that one area, could be addressed through a development agreement. But the development agreement is at county council level, it's negotiation, and that conversation hasn't been had with the county council. So,
Is that as an option to resign? Is that what you're saying?
I do believe, and I would really want to check with our attorney, but I do believe, if this was even considered and they didn't want to subdivide and just wanted to designate that area. I think through a development agreement, you could do that. You could put in restrictions, and there's things you could do with a development agreement. But the development agreement isn't a function of the planning commission. Of course, you can make a recommendation to the county council to consider that.
Which would be easier for them? You know what I mean by easier, right?
I mean, my recommendation would be to him tonight is withdraw his application. Because if you get a vote and you deny, you can't apply for another 2 years. And you get Ms. Wagner and she get the attorney, then you know what's feasible and what's not feasible.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow the rules, that's why I'm here. And I don't, I've never done this before, I don't know all the rules and what all the options are.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of us were kind of shell shocked when we read the whole application and everything that it involved. And now that we talk about it, we can clearly see that what's on this paper is not really your intent 100%. I think y'all can come back and mold it, do like Chairman says, reapply, and, add some stipulations in there, cut down your trucking time, work with, Miss Lisa and try to get this thing worked out. But it's really not as bad as what it's presented as. So I don't think, but I would go with Chairman's recommendation as well.
All right, I'll do that. I'll work with Lisa and make sure that we do it the right way.
That's just one other thing. Lisa, did I understood you saying that you changed the zoning, but he's asking now for one 10-acre pond, that he could go back later on and do another 10-acre pond?
No, what I was trying to say, Dr. Butler asked a question. Once the entire property is rezoned resource extraction and you have a mining operation, when it's time to do a reclamation plan with South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, you can apply for an expansion. It's happening in my community where I live right now. So, and there's no notice, there's no requirement to come back.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that around my house all the time.
I just hope when y'all have the discussion, maybe y'all can work out something in that area, so a citizen of this area would be assured there would only be one pond instead of 2 or 3 ponds out there. I think maybe that's something.
So the smaller the area is, then you usually are kind of confined to you can't expand. But
this is a lot.
My point was on a larger one.
Yeah,
that's zoned right.
Yeah, I would just hope that y'all could work something out and show the citizen that this thing do that they wouldn't be looking at 5 years, 3 other ponds on 400 and some acres of land.
Yeah.
And that's my concern.
Yeah, so I would have the same concern. I want to be a citizen there too.
Thank you.
So I'm just wanting the 10 acres and I'm just trying to follow the rules.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank you,
your
Mr. Chair.
consideration.
Thank you.
I have one other question. The information that we received here tonight on this 400 and some odd acres to be rezoned as a extraction zone, is this the same information that the community got?
Is it the same information? What?
Is this the same information that the community got, that this 400 and some acres wanted to be rezoned as resource extraction?
We sent out a letter. I'd have to pull it up to see exactly what it said.
I mean, does it say 400 and some acres, or does it say 10 acres?
I believe it did. Is there anybody from the community? Thank you.
And if they got that, they'd be just as shocked as we are this evening.
Yes, this has 465 acres, which is currently zone rural preservation, and the request is for resource
So I see,
extraction.
like you said, I see some of the community people here tonight, and if they were doing 400 and some acres, I'd be here tonight too. When they go back and come back with 10 acres, I don't know how the community will receive it, but I'm sure it will probably be better than 400 and some acres.
I'd be upset too.
So, I just wondered if that's how it was presented to the community, because that is a shock.
It was, that's what was on the application.
I understand. But that's not his intention.
He asked any potential community members what
concerns of a 10-acre pond would be? Would anybody be able to elaborate on that?
You have to come up to the mic.
I guess what I'm asking is it possible for us to ask a community member or community members who are here if they would have any objections of a 10-acre pond, so that they have a better understanding that it's not really going to impact them other than, this man's going to live here. This is where he's going to retire to. He just wants a 10-acre pond, and, to help pay for that pond, the resource extraction helps, get some of that done. So when they have objections to a 10-acre pond, we understand that, if they look at it as 470 acres, they think they're gonna get this big housing development. That's not what he's doing. But could we ask that question to maybe a
Mr.
community
Chairman.
member?
I'm gonna allow
Yeah,
a
Mr. Chair.
community person to speak to your application.
Okay. So,
They're gonna come to the mic.
Okay.
They'll get there.
All right, thank you.
Is a representative from the community like to speak? State your name for the record.
Name Lawrence R. Warren. I'm one of the members of the community here at Rivers Hill. It would be fair to these two gentlemen over here if I expressed myself, because to me it was not handled right. If he had this intentions of doing what he got in mind, he should have came to us. We meet once a month. And if he had to come to us and talk to us, I think he would have got better, give the community an understanding what he had in mind. But like we see, we are not for it. So after he applies his new application, we come back and talk to him.
Anyone else from the Riversville community?
And plus, when he was hauling this dirt, it looked. I'm Joyce Travis, and I live on Rivers Hill. We have property that's just beyond this area, and they must have hauled 100 loads of dirt from back there. It looks like a river back there, and we didn't even know what was going on until all this was done. So my concern is a 10-acre fish pond took all that dirt. It looks like a river back there. Does anybody agree with me in the neighborhood? It was a lot of dirt that was taken out from back there. And I know that's his business, what he wanted to do with that dirt, but it was a lot of dirt. And when I saw a 30-acre lake, that's what it said in the letter. It didn't mention a fish pond. It said a lake, a 30-acre lake. So when I saw all that dug out, it looked like a lake. So then I'm concerned about alligators. I'm concerned about what else is going to be on this lake. Is it going to be some boats? What else is going to be on the lake? Is the community going to have access to it? Is he going to hire some employees to work back there? Because it sounds like he was going to have a big thing going on back there. And when we got this letter, I'm like, mining? What are you looking for, gold back there? So I'm concerned about a lot of things, and that was just a lot of area dug out. And we are probably, how close are we to that area? There's one road, and our property is right next to it. And Rivers Hill community is right down the road from that. It's not even a mile. Not even a mile. 1547, I've seen that sign numerous times. So we are very close to that area. I can see the little house back there they're working from. And it's not a mile. It's not a mile off Rivers Hill Road. Plus our roads are all torn up as it is. And these people hauling grass. It's far lighter than these people holding all that dirt. They tore our roads up hauling that dirt. And we didn't even know what was going on. The only thing I could hear, they're building a lake. They're building a lake. It's a lake. It's a lake. A lake is not a fish pond. We have a fish pond on our property, but it's not 30 acres. So I'm concerned about the traffic, what it's going to do to our roads, what it's going to do to our community. And yes, we got people walking that road all the time. It's a lot. And that piece of paper that I just had. So I'm concerned about the environment. What is it going to do to our taxes? What is it going to do to our roads? What is it going to do to the environment? And yes, I'm concerned about alligators. So that's all I have.
Oh, I have one question for you, Mr. So you saying they have already been removing dirt?
About 1,000 loads. You need to come there and see this area to believe how much dirt has been taken out of that place.
So, Mr. Pinckney, there was something going on this side. This application is for a new pond, a new lake, over here. Right here. In this area.
So Lisa, you want to speak to that, or let me speak to that?
You're more than welcome to speak to that. Sorry.
Yes. I was just going to try to address her concern.
That's a whole nother matter. You may want to hear from the applicant on that, but this application doesn't cover that.
Okay. Is there anybody else from that community? No? You said you wanted to address a question real quick?
I'm wondering, is it going to be fenced in, the whole area?
Please let me address her question.
Yeah, so when I first moved there, I was working with Lisa to build a fish pond. And I had no idea about any rules. Because I came from where I came from, you know, as long as you weren't bothering your neighbors, you didn't have to do permitting and all that. So I was building a pond on this other side. And so I hired somebody to take some dirt out. And then Lisa said, the neighbor said, well, what's going on? And then Lisa called me up and said, well, you can't do that. And so we quit. But I didn't have a clue that you had to have permits and all that. And so that's why I'm here today, to make sure that it's permitted properly and everybody it's done properly. And so on the other place, we did just like you said, Dr. Foster, we just spread the dirt around on the place. But anyway, that was the issue.
All right, thank you. We're not going to go into further discussion on this.
So the planning department did issue a zoning permit for a fish pond, but that was taken to DHEC, and DHEC, there was some sort of loophole. They gave them a mining permit, and I had to revoke the fish pond permit, the zoning permit. And I had to send DHEC a copy because DHEC would not help us at the time all that was going on.
Yeah, I understand that clearly, because what DHEC give the approval, they don't come back, never check. It's the responsibility that falls in the lap of the county. We've had that problem throughout out of the county. Okay, the next thing on our agenda for this evening is Planning Commission meeting schedule. Yeah. He withdraws the application.
Mr.
He
King,
just said
he
he did withdraw his application. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, can I ask a question about the, bond thing, so we move on? I just had a quick question.
Yeah, but come quickly because I had to open the floor.
I'm sorry.
My name is Tressa Govan. I'm not from the area, but I have property on Rivers Hill, and my only question was, how will this project affect like the taxes in the future? Pretty much, will it go up or will it pretty much stay the same if the project is actually approved?
It wouldn't affect your taxes, only their taxes.
Thank you.
Okay, item B, plan commission meeting schedule.
So the proposed meeting schedule identifies the second Tuesday of each month as the meeting date, with the submittal deadline being 3 weeks prior to the meeting date. Staff is proposing to change the time of the meetings to 4 o'clock in the afternoon if agreed upon by the commissioners. And the meeting date schedule, we have verified it. You know, there's no scheduled elections for this year of 2025, so there's no conflicts that we're aware of at this time.
Commissioners, you have the list in front of you and the time. I'd like you to give us your input.
I like the idea. I'm in agreement with it. Thank you.
I add to that, meeting earlier for me is a good thing.
Dr. Boston.
It's fine with me. It's okay with my wife as well.
And, you know, the other thing is it's through a time frame that would allow people that work to still come. So,
Mr. Jackson.
I have no objection. I would accept 5 o'clock before, because most people get off work at 4 and that would give them time to get here by 5.
yeah.
But I have no objection.
So I'm ready to entertain a motion for planning committee.
Chairman, I so move that we accept the schedule for the planning commission meetings and also the change of time from 6 o'clock to 4 o'clock.
Second.
Motion been made by Dr. Boston, second by Dr. Butler. Ready for question? And none, all in favor, such motion, let it known by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed by the same sign. Okay, the next thing on the agenda for this afternoon is old business. Is zoning map text amendment, Jasper County zoning ordinance, Article 5, zoning district regulation, Article 6, youth regulation, Article 7, primary district, Article 8, special purpose district, Article 11, conditional use review and regulation, Article 15, sign standard, Article 22, rule conservation subdivision zoning amendment with the U-Haul River planning area, U-Haul overlay district. From the initial
Chairman.
review.
Yep, these folks over here saying they can't hear because of other discussions in the crowd.
Okay, Ms. Flagg, you can go with us the changes that have been made since we last reviewed overlay district.
So the last time the Planning Commission reviewed this was August 28, 2024 during a special call meeting. Since that time, we held a public hearing on September 19, 2024. Based on comments that we received from the public and the county council, we've made several revisions to the ordinance, not only the ordinance, but also to the proposed zoning map changes. Staff has met with Charleston County We also met with South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. So it's all of those things that basically these revisions are based off of. And the Planning Commission needs to review these revisions and make a recommendation to County Council. Just to recap, the two new zoning districts that are being proposed are Village Commercial and Rural Preservation 10, the RP 10 district. The U-Haul Overlay District was proposed to encompass all properties generally located east of I-95 from the municipal boundaries of Hardyville to the U-Haul Broad River, and to include to the U-Haul Creek and the Broad River, to include Highway 170, Highway 462, Coosawhatchee, and Oakity Club. Originally, the properties located in the U-Haul Overlay District that are currently zoned rural preservation and are 10 acres and greater were proposed to be changed to rural preservation 10, while the commercial areas in the U-Haul Broad River planning area were proposed to be rezoned to Village Commercial. The U-Haul Overlay District has not changed. That area will remain the same. However, several areas within the U-Haul Overlay District are not being proposed for rezoning. Those map changes, which I'd like to go over in a little more detail with you after we go through the zoning text changes, but they're Highway 17 in Coosawhatchee, which is located along Highway 17 and an interstate. Highway 170 in the Oakity area, where that's a 4-lane highway and they're served by water and sewer. And then areas that are located within the transitional zone in accordance with the comprehensive plan, those areas are located in close proximity to I-95. The general areas are Bees Creek Road, Riceshire Road west of Bees Creek Road, Glover Road right off of Bees Creek Road, and I should have put in the staff report only the paved portion of Glover Road.
Can we see the map while you're talking about this?
Sure. Hard to get it all in, but since we're here, I'll go ahead over this with you if that's okay. Let me pull up one more thing. I'm sorry. This is the U-Haul Broad River Overlay District, the whole entire area. This is Coosawhatchee. This is I-95, so it's everything west. Highway 170 in Oakity, 462 runs this way. This is the Oakity Club. That's the only thing across Highway 17 and west of I-95 is this Oakity Club. And you know, Oakity is a large tract. It's on this side too. This is right at the Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Canal. So it's north of that and then east of I-95. So the areas that we're talking about not rezoning are, I'm going to zoom in on a few areas. We have, we'll start right here in the middle of town. We had the, sorry, I'm getting my bearings. We have these areas right here in Fordsville that were community commercial. We were proposing to change those to Village Commercial. This property out here on Bees Creek Road, that was community commercial. We were proposing Village Commercial. So those would stay as they are. They just would not be rezoned. This is the school property on Bees Creek Road. This was proposed for RP10. It would just remain as it is. This is in the transitional zone.
Can they build a school in RP10?
Ma'am,
Can they put a school there with that zone?
in the rural preservation district, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And also, if someone had development, they could always come in and apply for a rezone, and it comes to planning commission that's assessed by you and also county council. So, if you go out to, I'm also gonna put the town layer on here to cover up some of this. So these were under 10 acres, so they weren't affected. You have some properties right in here, sits between Highway 17, here's Stellar's, Carolina Wren, so it sits between Stellar's J Road and Bees Creek Road. So these were, the ones that are over 10 acres were proposed to be zoned RP10. They would just remain as they are. The transitional zone, when you get to Glover Road and coming down this way, these really, the transitional zone continues to exit 18 along Bees Creek, but at Glover it ends, it doesn't follow it. But the reason we picked this little area right here is because you have, let me pull up the right one, I need this. You have the town limits of Ridgeland on this side, to the east, north and east. And over here is the Oakity Club. So you just have these few areas in here that are surrounded by the transitional zone, the town of Ridgeland, and the Oakity Club. There's just a couple of parcels. So those would remain the way they are. Then when you come down Bees Creek Road toward Riceshire, it would be just these few properties, not this large one, because this large one goes all the way, it carries on north and east to the border. So it's just these other out parcels. Some of these are over 10 acres, some are smaller than 10 acres, and they weren't affected. So it's just these, everything east of Bees Creek along this side of Riceshire Road would, those that are 10 acres, they would be changed to RP10, and even north of this intersection. And then of course, Highway 462, everything's still gonna be changed. So those are the only areas we were trying to shrink. It is just those areas in the transitional zone, everything just west of Bees Creek Road, between Riceshire and Glover Road up to just the paved portion of Glover, not the dirt road. Is there any other things you'd like to look at on the map? Oh, I'm sorry.
Lisa, were all these property owners notified of the changes that are being made?
They have not received the letters, but I have communicated with many of them verbally. So we do still need to do the letters. It took a long time to update our Excel sheets, identify these properties. It's been a lot of work, and get it also updated in the ordinance that's going to the county council, update all of our documents. It's taken a couple of months. So
This is about 200 people or 100?
So there were originally 300 people that were affected by the changes, and this would reduce that number to 200 people still being affected, but it removes 100.
Mr. Chairman, am I in order?
Yes.
Well, Lisa, I probably stepped out to the restroom. Where am I in this? Nose Island, Palms Key, Rosedale
Right.
Road, Tooten Landing. gonna stay the same or there changes?
Well, I think yours was smaller than it
Right.
was,
It was
so
smaller.
your particular property is not changing, but the area there would accordingly, so,
Such a small area, I thought there would have to be a bigger area in there for changes.
let's see. You are, so as you can see, most of that area is, residential, and it would, so it's not affected. The larger RP properties would be affected. They would go to RP 10. I'm glad you asked that because, well, no, these that you see community commercial out here are going to village commercial. Let me zoom in. I don't think,
Yeah,
so we
because
weren't proposing for all those to go to village commercial, but after meeting.
There's some opposition, that's why I'm asking.
These community commercial would go to village commercial. The larger RP, the RP zones would go to RP 10.
Me,
Sir,
Rosen,
those larger parcels, there's only one or two over there.
so it would have no effect on me.
No, most of, all of Roseland is residential, but I'm talking about these larger parcels. They're actually off of Knowles Island,
Yeah,
right?
good, thank you.
And just while we're here, I didn't show you this area, so
The only reason why I ask this question, because I run into people all the time that ask me questions, and
sure.
you'd be surprised at the question commissioners get when they're out in the
I
public. You all
know.
would be
So the
surprised.
community commercial tracts you see here in Coosahatchee, they would just remain as community commercial. They would still be part of the U-Haul overlay district. This large parcel we've determined was an error in the beginning. It's the only property in 2007 that received commercial zoning on 175 acres. That's going to RP10. This property over here is split zone. It's RP10 and industrial. That industrial will be removed and it will just go to RP10. We have 3 properties between Coosahatchee and Ridgeland, between exit 22 and exit 28 that all have that industrial buffer there.
I just want to make sure that I get the right answer to stuff, because I don't want to mislead the citizens.
Yeah.
If you think I'm asking too much question, that's
No,
the
that's
only reason
okay.
why I ask these questions, so when people approach me, I'll have some answers.
So those properties
Thank you.
zoned residential, they're not being affected at all. And then the other area I didn't show you is the Highway 170 in Okatee. So I'll just go there real quick. So this is Hazard Creek Commercial. It's a major subdivision that was approved years ago. Their own general commercial, they won't be changed. These out parcels here, community commercial, all this community commercial will stay. This orange area is the Centerpoint PDD. They're under a development agreement, so that doesn't change. Over here, for the most part, you have like this particular property, it's split zone. It's just gonna remain split zone. If they wanna do something there, they're gonna have to come in and go through a rezoning. Or depending if they wanted to do a residential subdivision that is allowed in community commercial and rural preservation, that's fine. They would still probably wanna rezone it to one district because the minimum lot sizes that would be required are different in those districts. And then this one on the corner is split zone. We're not gonna mess with it. We're gonna leave it just the way it is. You only have these smaller out parcels or community commercial. There are a couple that are split zone, and they'll require action by county council if they were to do something there.
Is that 170? I got lost.
That's
That is
Highway
170.
170. This is this Centerpoint PDD. This is where the John Paul Catholic School
Okay, I
is
got you.
over here.
Okay,
And it's 170 going toward Beaufort.
okay.
So those are the map changes.
You're gonna change Belton Hill?
Sir?
Belton Hill will see residential?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
He said
What
Bellinger
is it?
Hill.
Oh, yeah, this does in fact Bellinger Hill. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Lisa.
Any other questions about the map? Okay. So, as far as the articles that were given to you in your packages, Article 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 15, and 22, just as a reminder, everything in that is formatted in red are new changes, but they were proposed from the beginning. Any recent revisions are highlighted in yellow. And if we could just go through the symbiosity memo that was included in your package right behind the staff report. The ordinance updates, Article 5, there were no changes. Article 6, that just consisted of changing in the use chart, the golf courses and marinas from permitted to not permitted in RP10 and village commercial. Article 7, we modified village commercial design standards. Well, we had the village commercial design standards in Article 7.6 of the proposed ordinance. We've moved that to Article 8, and we've turned 7.6 into a maximum building size, which would limit commercial buildings in village commercial to 2,500 square feet. Added an exemption for existing lots of record where a zoning certification letter was issued and a pre-application conference held prior to the establishment of the moratorium. So that, there's only one of them out there, just for the record.
462.
Yeah, the Aqua Blue Hills is the only one who had any due diligence done and attempted to try and get something done. So the biggest change is in Article 8, the special purpose districts. And, you know, I don't know how you want to handle it, if you want to just go through the memo, or if you want to look at Article 8, but basically in 8-9, the U-Haul Overlay District, well, you know, we changed that name just to make it shorter to the U-Haul Overlay District. That's been moved to be a special purpose district in Article 8-9 of the zoning ordinance. 8-9-4 is the design and development standards. That basically was just copied over from Article 7. Riparian buffer and setback table.
Because these are in yellow, these were changed from what we initially saw?
Yes, that's right. So in the riparian buffer and setback table, if you remember, originally we were proposing 2,000 feet setback for a conventional septic system from the critical areas and any type of other wetlands. We've reduced that to 125 feet. So it goes from 200 feet to 125 feet for a conventional septic system from the critical area. And it's reduced from 200 feet to 100 feet for any jurisdictional wetland or non-jurisdictional wetlands, rivers, streams, any type of wetlands. The engineered systems, they were being proposed at 1,000 feet. I'm sorry, yes, so 1,000-foot setback for any engineered, they're called advanced wastewater treatment systems from critical areas, jurisdictional wetlands, and any other wetlands. We have kept it at 1,000 feet for the critical areas, but all other wetlands are reduced to 400 feet. The drain field setback may be reduced to 75 feet if the applicant can demonstrate the seasonal high water table is more than 15 inches below the drain field. We don't believe there's very many properties in Jasper County that will be able to demonstrate that. But, and if you remember, we had 18 feet, that comment is new. We modified the average buffer widths. In that setback table, we just removed the word salt water from the jurisdictional and non-jurisdictional. It doesn't really matter if they're salt water, they're either non-jurisdictional or jurisdictional.
Question before you
Yes.
move any further. With those setback, and when you apply for a septic system, you normally go through DHEC.
Yes.
How this going to correspond with DHEC in the county with those guidelines?
So we have met with DHEC, we've had that discussion. DHEC's not going to enforce the county's ordinance. Their permits are going to be based on their requirements. What DHEC told us is they believe that what we can do more than anything is add language to require anybody, especially on the advanced wastewater systems, to add in a requirement for maintenance once a year. In the symbiosity note, we say we've done that, but we really haven't. We intend to. We've reached out. DHEC seemed to think that Bluffton had done that years ago. I reached out to Bluffton. They've never done that. I have been trying to reach out to Beaufort County about it, but I haven't received a response yet. So I do think we do intend to put in a requirement for maintenance where you would have to maintain your system once a year. And what they suggested is that report could be due at the time your taxes are due. It's going to be hard to keep up with it any other way.
I thought DHEC had turned all this engineered system, the permitting process, over to engineers.
They have, as far as the consultants and the people who do the work, but they are still required. Those consultants and the engineer consultants are required to get approval by DHEC. The final approval still comes from DHEC.
Oh, okay, so they
Yes.
do the work, DHEC just signs off on it.
That's right.
Because most of these rural areas, when Beaufort Jasper Water Authority met with us, they were not on the radar for sewage and water to be put there, especially in the next 20 years. They got other areas that they got targeted to. And this is a lot of inspection and details for the county, and that's a heavy burden for individuals that, just want to do a residential house, because some of them areas is critical within proximity of the.
And in order for the county to enforce this, they're going to have to hire someone, just like Bluffton has a stormwater program and a whole entire staff. I mean, the county's going to have to hire. They're going to have to come up with a department and fill it with people.
And I know all of this was orchestrated to try to cut down the growth on that corridor, especially 462. And that's a historical area. But I will tell you, it's too late. That road will have to be widened because of the traffic. That 2-lane can't handle the traffic that goes on there. And you can't restrict people from going there. You go there for 5 o'clock in the evening, you in for a lot of waiting. I got stuck out there and I just could not believe from 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening the traffic. I was living on 462. And putting all this in place, and that's a historical district, that's not going to stop the need for that road to be wide.
heavily traveled. Highway 462 is heavily traveled. I believe the last traffic count was 9,400 and something cars a day.
Wow.
And Mr. Chairman, if anybody, I'm quite sure somebody gotten in their car and got on 462 and get to that 170 traffic light at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. You've been in it. It's a nightmare. You need to see. I mean, traffic. I mean, there's a light, but traffic is back up all the way almost back to Snake Road, trying to get in 170 off of 462. It is. I had a doctor's appointment at 8:15, and I left home this morning. Yesterday morning, probably about 6, because if I was 30 minutes, 45 later, I would have missed the doctor's appointment. You need to really see it. It is. I mean, your gentlemen know what I'm talking about. It is horrible.
That's one reason Jasper County wants to eliminate curb cuts as well and have separation distances there. You can't allow too many driveways out there.
Mr. Chairman, it's a nightmare.
Is there anything that you know of that addresses the distance between wells and septic tanks? Anything that we do?
No, DHEC does have a requirement. When they issue a septic tank, they want to know where your well is. I think it's 75 feet is the distance, but they regulate that.
But we don't have anything to do with that. It wouldn't be in here. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. The distance between the septic tank drain field and the groundwater table, it was at 24 inches. That's been reduced to be 18 inches. In section 894.2, okay, that's the one we just went over. It goes from 24 inches to 18 inches. That's the separation between the drain field, which is the trench bottom, and the seasonal high water table. That goes from 24 to 18 inches. And then we've added in, well, this is the one about the maintenance system. It's going to go in section 894, number 2. It'll probably go in as number D, to require the private wastewater system to be maintained once a year. We're just still working on that. We would like you to consider that as a revision to go forth. We do intend to do that.
894?
Yes, it would be on Article 8 that I gave you in your package. It would be on page, sorry, I just want to make sure I get to the right place. It would be on page 2 of 7. Right up under the riparian buffer and setback table. You'll see number 2, requirements for lots. Yep, and so it'd probably go in as number D. That would be added into D there. Just a requirement to maintain the septic tank once a year.
Why was it reduced from 24 to 18 inches for the distance between the septic drain tank, drain field, and groundwater? What? I mean, what was the rationale?
That came after we met with DHEC. They felt like 24 inches was completely too much, impossible. You know, the properties here in Jasper County, it's the low country area. Most of them have they already have a seasonal high water table, and this could cause some, depending on your property, to have septic tanks that are way up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking. So DHEC reviewed all of this and made recommendations. Okay.
They did as it relates to septic tanks, yes. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, while we stand, Mr. Chairman, I know we tabled the 10-acre lake, But this is just a suggestion in 2025. I know Lisa do a good job of showing this on the aerial map and, you know, showing this in our packet. But I think we among ourselves as commissioners, when there's a project like that in this county, I think we should take a field trip together and go and see what these projects look like. When you talk about a 10-hour lake, or, I mean, you know, a lake that big, or anything that big in this county, I think we as a commission, we should, okay, open discussion. All right.
In section 894, number 4 is the stormwater management requirements for single-family lots. This will only apply to individual single-family to all new subdivisions, not to an individual single-family lot. An individual single-family lot would not be required to meet the stormwater management requirements, but all new subdivisions will be, all new commercial will be. So that went into 894, and that's number 5, where we're just saying the Southern Low Country Stormwater Design Manual, the SOLOCO, will be applicable to all new residential subdivisions and non-residential developments within the U-Haul Overlay District. And we put a note in here to say this standard shall be reviewed to determine if this standard creates unreasonable hardships on landowners within the district within 18 months from the date of adoption of this ordinance. So we'll come back and look at that. Then 895 is fill restrictions. This whole section is new, and I should have highlighted it for you, and that was just an error that I didn't do that in the ordinance that I sent out to you. But we basically took this from Beaufort County. Beaufort County has these same types of requirements. When you are bringing in fill, we want to have regulations in place that you can't bring fill in, build up your whole entire property, you know, where it's in a flood zone or a wetland. So what we say, the amount of allowable fill must not increase the existing natural grade of the property by more than 3 vertical feet. The only portion of property that may be filled is the area underneath the elevated structure, together with driveway and walkway access to the structure. The fill shall taper at a maximum slope of 1 to 3 from a 5-foot perimeter around the outer foundation to the existing site elevation. The minimum amount of fill necessary for grading is permitted for parking, stormwater, and roads. If the lot is 20 acres or more, in no case shall the maximum lot area of the property filled exceed 33.33% of the total area of the lot. If a new or reconstructed structure is to be elevated utilizing fill material, any required building elevation standard exceeding the 3-foot fill limitation as referenced in section 5B must be achieved through the use of elevation foundations, piers, or similar code requirements as certified by a structural engineer. Non-conforming structures may utilize fill to expand up to 15% of the gross floor area in accordance with other development regulations. Any fill project must be designed to limit negative impacts upon adjacent and affected upstream and downstream property owners during flood events to the maximum extent practicable. No fill project shall fill in or obstruct any local drainage channels without an alternative drainage plan design, and shall limit soil erosion and water runoff into adjacent properties to the maximum practicable extent and be in compliance with the NPDES standards, which is the non-pollutant discharge standards and stormwater requirements. All fill material that is brought in from off-site will be placed at elevations below the seasonal high water table or within 1 foot above the seasonal high water table. They'll be required to meet the following clean requirements. And they list those. There's a lot of technical names there, but off-site soils brought in for use as fill shall be tested for total petroleum hydrocarbons, benzene, toluene, ethylbenzene, and xylene, and full toxicity characteristic leaching procedure, including ignitability, corrosivity, and reactivity. Fill shall contain a maximum of 100 parts per million of total petroleum hydrocarbons and a maximum of 10 parts per million of the sum of benzene, toluene, ethylbenzene, and xylene, and shall pass the TCPL test. Determine the TPH concentrations by using the EPA document outlined there and the section number. Determine the BTEX concentrations by using the EPA SW. They give you the code section there and the method. Perform the TCLP in accordance with TCLP from a composite sample of material from the bar site with at least one test from each bar site within 24 hours of conclusion of physical test, and submit 3 copies of test results, including calibration curves and results of calibration tests. And the fill material shall not be brought on site until tests have been approved by the stormwater department. So that gets back to that department I told you the county's going to need to create. And then there's just a few other things there about, if the lot's 3 acres or less, all single-family residential lots with sloping terrain may provide greater than 3 feet of fill to provide a level foundation as long as the average fill does not exceed 3 feet. Where no other suitable site configuration is practicable, depressions, sinkholes, and bar pits that are not part of the natural drainage of the site, that are not delineated as tidal or non-tidal wetlands, may be filled to provide for a level foundation, and single-family residential structures utilizing raised slabs with a masonry or concrete curtain wall may contain more than 3 feet of fill if it is limited to the footprint of the building. So those are the fill restrictions that have been added in. And then in 895, the last thing in section 8 that was changed, if you turn back to page 6 of 7 and 7 of 7, we have just outlined non-conforming lots. Some of this language was already in there. We just added in administrative adjustment for non-conforming lots. The purpose is administrative adjustments or specified deviations from otherwise applicable development standards where development is proposed that would be compatible with surrounding land uses, harmonious with public interest, and consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance. Applicability, the DSR shall have the authority to authorize an adjustment up to 20% of any numerical standard set forth in Article 8. No administrative adjustment shall increase the overall density or intensity of the development. Anything over the 20% would require variance to the Board of Zoning Appeals. That concludes Article 8, and that's where the majority of the changes were. In Article 11, 11.730, 11.734, We just changed the wording in that section for single-family houses and manufactured housing. We used to put in the minimum lot size you needed to have a single-family residence or a single manufactured home. And it was based on your zoning district. If you were residential, you needed a half acre for one unit, you needed a whole acre for two. In rural preservation, you needed 1 acre for one structure and you needed 2 acres for two. Instead of having to write each zoning district, now that we have RP10, they would follow the same thing, so it'd be 1 unit per 10 acres in RP10, and a second unit would require 20 acres. We just thought it would be easier to change that language to say the minimum lot size for a second single-family residential dwelling unit shall be 200% of the minimum lot size of the district. So based on Article 7, the minimum lot size is just twice that amount, whatever the zoning district is. So that's what we did in both of those sections. And then in the family estates, which is Article 11.735, where the property is zoned RP10, we have said you could do 1 unit per 1 acre, but we put a limit to 25 units. So for instance, RP10, you could do 1 unit per 1 acre up to 25 units. That's where we made the change. The way we had it before, if you had 100 acres, you could get 10 units. But regardless, you cannot exceed 25 acres if you have 500 or 600 acres. And just as a reminder, in the family estate, which we already have on our books today, that property has to belong to the family for no less than 30 years already.
I have a question. You know, this is maybe silly, but I happen to have had some experience and knowledge of a piece of property that is considered heirs property. And under, it's 11.735 under family estate, it talks about permitting this. If the property is heirs property, the county should permit additional family dwelling units and or permit a subdivision by the person or persons in control of the property. And it gives an example: the family member or members who pay taxes occupies the property. Now, the piece I'm talking about, the person that occupies the property, the family is out of control of that person. So, I mean, is there not, how does that work? I mean, the people that pay the taxes don't live here.
So they would be the people that need to sign. So there's an affidavit they have to sign, but if they're listed as paying the taxes.
This person does not pay the taxes.
Are they in the U-Haul overlay district? I know who you're talking about, but you're just using that as an example.
I am using that.
So let's just pretend that's in the U-Haul overlay district. Okay. In that particular case, and we've had to reach out to that family member before that pays the taxes. We would ask them to sign the affidavit. Okay. Sometimes we have to go over and check with the assessor's office as well. I mean,
so it just all falls back in your office.
Yes, but we don't just let any heir to the property come in, and because, you know, that's also a problem. I mean,
well, that I can see how that situation would be a problem, because, like I say, the taxpayer is not in control of the situation. So anyway, that rule does apply to that person that I'm talking about, right?
In the family estates, yes, it does under the rural preservation, but not the RP10. Or maybe, is
I
that
think
rural
that's
preservation or
residential. I think it's
residential? Yeah, I
residential.
think it might be residential. Yes.
Coming over, Mr. Chairman. Well, Lisa, we have a lot of that problem in Jasper County because, just because you're paying a tax, that doesn't mean, because a lot of these properties are heirs property. And a lot of people think just if you're paying the taxes, you own the property. You don't. If they're heirs, you do not own the property.
Well,
Right. Yeah, we're aware of that. It's not a perfect situation.
That's a problem. 'Cause I know I've been through that with my family, and a lot of people think they can pay taxes on the property for 50 years. Oh, I own that property. But if there's heirs property, taxes
we
don't matter.
know they don't own
Everybody still
it.
come in and claim their share. It don't matter who paid the taxes.
Yeah, we know they don't own it. It's not a perfect situation, but you can't have 60 different people coming to you in a month telling you they're gonna
But I do believe
subdivide the land this way, or they're
Yeah.
gonna cut it out this way, or they're gonna bring in these mobile homes. You do kind of have a one responsible person usually that is making sure those taxes get
Yeah, but they don't
done.
own it, right. They pay the taxes, but they don't own
Or
the
get
property. Every
paid.
heir that's in that piece of property they all
No.
have to sign before you get them and sell a piece.
We just
Now,
try
they
to
should take it to
recognize
court.
the controlling
Now, they should go
person
to court.
that's being responsible
Right.
to sign off on that.
But
Right.
this document is giving the authority to make changes to that property to a person, either
Right.
because they paid the taxes, or they live on the property, or they're a family member. I don't know.
But
To
if
me,
they're
it
heirs-
sounds like.
And all they have to do is sign an affidavit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but we try to make sure it's what we call the responsible person there.
Well,
In the case you mentioned, I mean, that family member from out of town that's listed with the property, they did get permission for.
but I'm just saying, I don't know. It seems to me that that's a recipe for disaster when you have so many people. I don't know what the answer is, but anyway.
It's far from perfect. I mean, it's a tough cookie.
Yeah.
Okay,
And there's
thank
so
you.
much heirs property in Jasper County, we got problems.
So that's all we did in Article 11. And then there was Article 15, we did not make any changes. Article 22, rural conservation subdivision. We changed the name from the rural small lot subdivision to rural conservation subdivision. And then we added in a provision that the standards found in this article, they're permitted only within the RP 10 zoning district, and therefore existing lots of records that have been owned by an individual family, or a family since January 1st, 1995, either a single member of the family, multiple members of the family, or an unbroken succession. So this will not be available to a developer who buys up property last year with the intent to develop it. If, they would probably have to come in with a PDD or something, but they're not gonna be able to use the family estates. Other than that, nothing else changed in the family estates. Those are the zoning tax amendments. I can tell you one more thing we've recognized that we need to do. Article 9(6) of the zoning ordinance is accessory structures. And as it's written now, there's limitations to the size of accessory structures that you can build in the residential zone and the RP zone. In the residential zone, it's just capped at 800 square feet, which is probably very appropriate for properties located in a subdivision or very close to the town, but it may not be appropriate for a 5 or 8 acre parcel in the middle of the country. So, but what we've realized is we didn't look at it for RP10, where we were going to require 10-acre lots, there could be barns, and those limits are based on their square footage. It goes up to 2,000 square feet. You have to have 5 acres in RP, in the regular RP. And then for every additional acre, I forget how many more square feet, but we have asked Denise Grafowski with Symbiosity to take a look at that. And we may come back with a change. We need to add in something for RP10, but we may come back with a change for the residential zoning district as well. Because we do struggle with that in our department. We're treating the 10-acre parcel that's zoned residential way up in the northern rural part of the county the same as somebody who's in a subdivision on a half-acre land, and that doesn't seem right. So just let you know, we'll bring that to you when we have that ready. That's all I have for you, all I know about, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
So do you need action on this?
I would like a vote to recommend this to county council, and if you'll keep in mind or just acknowledge that that includes for us to put in a sentence in Article 8 about the maintenance about a maintenance inspection for septic systems.
That I disagree with.
That's what DHEC said. I think it's more important you have that than you have these larger setbacks. That's the most important thing. They said these advanced septic systems are being treated like they're so much worse than a conventional system, but they work a lot better if they're maintained, than that the lack of maintenance is the issue. So that's really what they would like us to do, is to put in a maintenance requirement.
What happened to that lady that came before us 2 or 3 months ago and said that they had a $30 million grant to do for Jasper Water Authority?
I think that was from Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Authority, Taylor Ladd.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's no longer in existence.
Oh no, that was awarded to Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Authority. They're going to plan water sewer along Highway 315 in the Levy area, where they're that's where the pressure for development is, you know, in the southern portion of Jasper County.
No, I just wondering. I remember she came before us and she never came back. I didn't know if the project was dead.
No, we just asked them. So that was just to give you knowledge on that. We just asked them to make a presentation.
Is there any other questions for Ms. Wagner before I call for a motion?
No, sir.
So I'm ready to entertain a motion on proposal.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendations coming from the staff on this particular item, and also to include that last statement that you just made, requesting an inspection,
Maintenance inspection.
A motion that was made by Dr. Boston that we accept the recommendation coming from staff with a maintenance program included.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Commissioner Jenkins, second.
The motion has been made by Dr. Boston, second by Mr. Jenkins. Ready for discussion?
I had one question I forgot to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
We were talking about RP5 way back in August. What happened to that?
We're trying to just get the RP10 passed, and anybody who had less than 10 acres, they're just RP there. So we didn't.
So that was never discussed any further than here?
That's right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No further discussion? You ready to vote? All in favor of such motion, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? The motion is carried.
Thank you.
We got open discussion, but before we go into open discussion, Mr. Jenkins served on the Cypress Ridge Review Committee. He have information he'd like to give us real briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, Lisa and staff, Jasper County citizen. On our last meeting, we had some good news with the Cypress Ridge Business Industrial Park. There's just a few things I would like to share. I'm going to mention the name Project Veggie. So if you want to know what Project Veggie is, Lisa, please look in the dictionary because I'm going to call them to explain Project Veggie when we was in the Cypress Woods.
Oh, please don't do that. Stop.
Mr. Borton said there are thread reading for Project Veggie. That's a phase 3 project next to the Coca-Cola plant. And we also found out that Tyco closed on former higher grading building to be known as Tyco 3. And they have already started remodeling on this building. Also, Tyco is wrapping up construction on the inside of the spec building that will be used as part of distribution center. Tyco has really been expanding. Tyco has really been growing. You know, we thank God for Tyco because it supplies a lot of jobs to residents of Jasper County. And I'm just thankful to that company and thankful to God for all his blessing about that. We also talked about Project Veggie plan to move quickly as well, investing in 33 jobs. And the former Greenview building has engaged Nathan Stirring engineer, and they are wrapping up final concept plan to be reviewed in the next meeting. This plan is currently 6 to 8 building that are 7,000 square feet in the front of the current B Green building, and two $40,000 square feet, 40,000 square feet building behind the current B Green building. Everybody knows the B Green building. There's a large building back there. I'm glad to see that jobs are coming in those buildings, and we're going to have a lot of jobs, and let's hope we'll be able to supply the educational system will be able to apply some of our people to some of these good jobs that are coming. And we do know that they have no problem with bringing their people if they can't find people to fill this position. But I'm just hoping that people will be looking forward to this and, you know, getting their ducks in order to fill some of these jobs when they come our way. With the help of Paramedic Electric in connection with the Project Veggie, they have mulched 10 acres within the park, cleared ditch line, pushed into tree line, which has opened up park to allow project envision themselves better than the park. They have done a lot of things to cleaning up the park. As you know, there were a lot of shrubs and out there. Now when you go out there, you can see these beautiful buildings that sits in the Jasper County Park. They have cleaned up a lot of that area out there. And you want to visit it and really see what it looks like. And maintenance of the park and the purchase of B Green building or proposed concept plan. The B Green building is in the process of being purchased, so let's hope that'll go through. And that's all I have to offer, and hopefully in 2 or 3 months we'll have another meeting. Maybe Lisa have something to add, because Lisa also sit on these meetings. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I would just like to let you know that as far as the council member person that will be serving on Cypress Ridge committee meeting, the review committee, Tuesday night at this coming council meeting, there will be a resolution for council member Van Giesen to be a part of that committee. And we have a meeting next week on Thursday. I think the date's January 23rd. I think that's right. Anyhow, I'll be sending you an email about that. Just want to let you know that council member Van Giesen will be joining that board.
And my final thought, Mr. Chairman, if I'm in order, before you close, please, sir, let's ask for a moment of silence for the 5 of those people that lost their life out there in California. Let us pray much for those people, because you know that could have been us. So let us ask for silence. So people who've lost their lives out there in California. Wow. Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion from any of the commissioners?
Is Mr. Kemp still going to be the liaison to our group? Oh, there he is. I didn't see him. He was so quiet back there. Yes, he is.
By ordinance, I am to participate in the planning commission.
Good. Sorry I didn't see you back there.
And in case you didn't know, he's also the chairman of the county council now.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. We all know that.
Any other discussion?
Well, I have some discussion, I'm not gonna take very long, but, the gentleman that was before us with the 10-acre lake, there was some mention of them that already had started some unauthorized, extraction from that site. Could you tell us a little more about what happened with that, or how did that get started, and what was the extent of it?
Sure, they applied for a fish pond and they gave us a site plan showing that it would not be more than 10 feet average depth. And they gave us a whole narrative stating that there would be no removal of dirt from the site. And it qualified under our exemption for a fish pond as long as you don't remove the dirt. I think the contractor knew the DHEC regulations well enough. He took that permit to DHEC, who pointed to my permit as being for agricultural and gave them a mining permit. And we didn't even know that the dirt was leaving the site until the community members started coming to the county council. And of course they were upset. And I called DHEC and tried to find out how this happened. And I begged them, please, because we were trying to stop them. We were posting stop work notices, and they just kept going because they had a permit from DHEC. DHEC refused to help me. So I said, I'll fix y'all. And I just revoked their permit, sent it in writing to them. Code enforcement officer did go out there and post it there, and I sent it to DHEC and let them know they don't have a permit anymore for a fish pond.
So,
but the damage was done.
these are the same people that were proposing this pond?
Yeah.
Yes.
My question is, what was the size of that? Was it a 10-acre pond, or was it an acre pond?
From what I understand, it already had a stream there, and they were building a dam. They were proposing like a 13-acre pond at the time, but like the lady said, it's a lake. I mean, I was told it's a big lake out there.
All right, my question is, and like you said, you can't do anything about that now. Is there, are they still working that site?
Not that I'm aware of. He lives in the community.
And this is just discussion.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any complaints.
For clarifying,
I know it's
my
just
clarification.
I know it's a discussion on it, but I was complaining to Lisa about it, and also with DHEC. They came down, and they were just tearing up the roads. Okay, I took pictures. I went down and I observed the site, I observed the trucks, and with the complaints and stuff that we laid out, we was able to trace them. They was hauling the dirt to Hardyville. And I came down and complained about the roads. The roads were real towed up. I'm telling you, they towed the roads up, had dirt slashed every all the way there. And so they did come and patch the road, but our road's still in trouble from the traffic. I don't think they handled it right. I think they approached it wrong. If they wanted to do all of that, they should have saved something to the community and let them know, what the intentions were. But it came under false intentions. Now they want to come to the community and explain to them. That's on them. That's to me, that's on them, because to me they took the wrong road, because I came to a council meeting probably about 5 years ago up in Hardyville. We met up there because they were closed. They bought the land. They closed the road. we were using that road in there. The same road is said about Highway 3. There's a bridge in there that we was traveling through. And since they bought the land, the county said, look, we're not going to, we're gonna let them go ahead with it. What they was doing, closing the road. So they closed the road, now they asking the community to help them. That's on them.
Okay.
That's on them.
I've been in this county a long time. I remember before we had all these rules and regulations, and I was in one project where these guys wanted to do, I think it's 21 right down there at Burger King. And we always had the saying that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So you go ahead and do what you got to do and deal with the folks later on. So now they're asking for permission. So my perspective is if that you have done this unauthorized work and now we give you permission to go do another 10-acre lake.
On the opposite side of the property.
It's still the same individual. So you already got one 10-acre lake. To me, don't we have reclamation, like when you finish with a mining site, you have to redo something with it to put it back in place?
So that's part of your DHEC permit. You have to file a reclamation plan. When we approved the lanyard development, which was also in Bellinger Hill, they went before the county council and they were asked to enter into a development agreement, and there's a reclamation plan. Of course, it's the same one that's filed at DHEC as well. And back to this Rivers Hill, the pictures, I mean, I know there were somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 12 companies observed that went in there and was hauling out their 8 to 12 different hauling companies. It was wide open.
He should have a reclamation plan in place with DHEC. Do you know if that's been done?
I would think DHEC required it. I would have to reach out to them, but usually when they give you a mining permit, you have to file a reclamation plan with them. They want to know what the end use is going to be. So I would think there is one of record there. As far as the application that came to Jasper County, we thought it was a fish pond and no dirt was being removed from the site.
What's a reclamation plan looks like for mining? Just give me an idea.
It's just an end-use plan. The one at Lanyard Development calls for 5 or 6 houses being at the end when the lake is built, and it would be 5 or 6 houses all belonging to family members. It was on the Granger property. Others could be just a restore, maybe a fish pond that is going to belong to the community, with nothing else to take place on the property, with the exception of some tree, there used to be a lot of West Vaco properties here in the county.
So they're still mining that site.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Yeah. DHEC had to let them know they had to stop when I revoked the permit.
Okay, so they did
couldn't
stop.
even have my permit anymore.
Okay, so they stopped.
They did stop.
Okay.
They cut it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did that run, do you know?
How long did that happen?
I think it was last year.
But how long did it last? 5 or 6 months, or?
When I seen all those trucks just started going, and my neighbors started complaining, that's when I started coming down.
So it's been a year or less?
I think it was about a year ago, something like that.
It took place last year, yes.
How long did it last?
I can't really say.
But you had 3, 4, or 5 months?
In that neighborhood, yes. If you look at the area that they cleaned up and got it
yeah, it's on our map. I saw it on the map.
They really been back there for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
They were back there for a while. How long, I can't really say.
You can't put those kind of recommendations into the county council that they do something with that as far as letting it be for community use or something like that,
That-
before they do another?
I think you pretty much have to have an agreement with the landowner to do something like that.
We're just
but-
talking now, we're not,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're just talking. If that's possible, that you may ask the county council to put this in place before we give them, since they did that unofficially.
I think you would kind of talk to the applicant to see if they'd be willing to, and you know, they might tell you anything to get you to vote approval, and then you, okay, send a recommendation to county council that they're to consider that.
I imagine allowing anybody to use your private property would put you at a significant disadvantage in terms of a lawsuit.
Yeah, you'd have to
In the
turn that
event
property
somebody
Yeah, but
drowned
you're
or
making a
burned.
profit off of that. He's selling the dirt. So he's not.
And ruining the road.
So, you know, he's making a profit off it. They just didn't do this without him knowing it.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying.
In the land-use development agreement, they agreed to put money into a caddy. If they tore up the road, that the county would have
Okay.
money to go to South Carolina DOT and say, here's a pot of money, we want the road fixed.
What about that development agreement that you mentioned? Is that something that could address all those issues rather than going through the?
It's possible. I would feel a little more comfortable talking to the attorney and just making sure I'm on the right track there.
That would be done with the county council and would have more
That would
teeth
be at
than
a
what we
council level.
are able to do here.
Yes.
I mean, we could try to negotiate something, but ultimately it goes to the county council. So, I don't know, he presented himself as, differently than what the conversation seems to have evolved to. So, that may be the best way to go.
My concern is that we have to put something in place, because if we allow them to get away with that, then you'll have other citizens in this county figuring they can do the same thing. So we're gonna have to come together with county council, sit down, have a discussion, to see what we can do, because if we allow them to get away with that.
We didn't allow them to
No, I'm
get away
saying,
with it.
another person could take it upon themselves and do the same thing, figuring they bypassing the rules.
But yeah, we struggle with that every day. Everybody wants to take
Yeah.
advantage. Not everybody, but lots and lots of people want to take advantage, abuse
And I just
all our
hope-
rules and regulations.
I just hope we as commissioners, when we get a project like that in this county, I know Mr. Chairman said, we can go watch, see the site ourselves, but I think when there's something like this major in this county, we should come together as a commission and go out to these sites and see what's going on. I know you do a good job on the aerial map, you do a good job of putting it on this paper, but it's nothing like going to see with your own 2 eyes. And I think, we should adopt that. When there's something that big, we should come together. Even if county council go with us, that's fine. That we
And
should go as a body.
Councilman Kemp went out there.
Yeah, I had a flat tire.
He busted a tire going out there.
Tell AAA, when you go out there, tell AAA where you are.
So he saw it with his own 2 eyes.
Yeah, we should be on the same page when it comes to stuff like that.
And I was shocked that you apply for a zoning permit for a fish pond under exemption. I sit down and go over it all with you, and then
So he knew.
you go right down the road. He knew how to go about getting his permit from DHEC, using that.
He knew not to remove the dirt from that site? You
He
told
did, but
him
he
that?
also knew there was a loophole. I think the contractor knew there was a loophole
Yeah,
there.
probably.
But if you don't get something from county first, instead of state,
I
why
didn't
do
even
you
know
move?
about the
That's what I'm
loophole
saying,
with
yeah.
DHEC.
Well, like
Yeah,
I know the planning commission doesn't have any authority to file a fire arrest with the county council, but you can make a recommendation to
Yes,
the
you
council
can.
that
Yeah.
we think that they should do this to try to even this out.
Yeah.
Because there's an imbalance that they've taken advantage of.
Yeah, it's just-
And we've always, as a county, been a problem with enforcing our regulations, and that's a problem. Like you said, we've got a lot of stuff going on that's just not being enforced.
That's up to the chairman.
Yes, we fix the close out, something that might state your name for the record.
My name is Martin Goban. In the future, they'll have water and sewer up there, what's it?
Repeat that, we didn't.
Water and sewer in Riverside, you said?
Yeah.
He said in the future there will be water and sewer in Rivers Hill.
We met with Beaufort Jasper Water Authority. A lot of the rural areas is not on the radar, at least for the next 20 years. They give us the areas that was on the radar, and Rivers Hill is not one of them.
Okay. Is Belgium Hill on the radar?
I believe a part of Belgium Hill was on that, Swaggy.
Part of Levy-
Because Beaufort Jasper bought the Levy water system.
I think along Highway 315, whether they go down Bellinger Hill Road, I'm not sure.
No, it goes to, it's right around the light on 315, right around there.
The Levy
Levy
Center,
Right.
the center, you know,
Okay. I think in some part of Belgium Hill, they got enough water. That's just some water.
they have water and no sewer, that's right, parts do,
Yes.
yes.
That's what's up. Should be 20 years from now.
Yeah, about 20.
Maybe longer. Can't get it.
Come back and see us in 20 years.
Yeah, Mr. Kemp, you like to say anything before we part?
Just laughing.
Yes. Just first of all, Beaufort Jasper Water, there is a new committee that is formed. It's called Underserved Committee. That's how Beaufort Jasper got the grant from the sewage down at Leedy. They fit the bill. There was capacity down there. They had mains in there. So what they're getting is they're getting the sewage to their house. They're even, part of the deal is putting money to have the hookup. Plus, there's something in there for repairs of houses to bring it up to code. So that's that. But that's what I bring you up to date on that. I go to a meeting and I'm going to ask if we can have it open to the public. They try to, it's just a small group, but it's a small area. I think they're just developing, so I have to get a feel of what they want to do. But anyway, going back to that, we have a new council. We have a council that, when I got on the council back in 2020, we had like 40 to 50 years experience. Today, January, we went to 19 years experience. 14 years was Marty Sauls, 4 years was me. That's 18 years of 2 people. The other 3 councilmen have less than a year. But we are united. We want to change. Part of the change is we are not an island. We have to go out there and be part of Jasper County. That means Hardyville and Ridgeland. I would like for this council, for this board, to be the leader of Jasper County by going to Hardyville and asking Hardyville and you to meet at least once a year, at least. Because when I talk to Hardyville, they don't know who you are. I mean, they don't know one person on this council that they can call about. And what was the alarm was when they had in Jasper County, Hardyville was having a PDD. What's the name of the PDD? Down in the Lakes. One where they condemned the 2, they wanted to condemn the 2 houses.
That is part of the East Sargent.
East Sargent, okay, East Sargent tract.
And the Hilton.
They were going to condemn 2 houses to put a road in. Guess what? The houses were ours. We're unincorporated. We didn't know about it. Until somebody called the owner of the house and said, hey, we're going to condemn your house. Which they couldn't do because we didn't even know about it. It was our property. We would condemn it. And it's against the law to condemn what they wanted. Anyway, then we have JR down in Levy. Hardyville built a house, built a Claris facility, warehouse, right on top of his house. We didn't know it. Now, yes, we have no control over Hardyville, but we can suggest to Hardyville. We got to know what Hardyville is doing. I don't know how you do it. They are videotaped. I'm now trying to get Hardyville to send you the agenda and their e-packet. Now, you don't have to read the whole e-packet, but if you see something that's next to Jasper County, let's ask, how is it going to affect our citizens? And this last thing I like to do is we have a problem. We talk about roads. I mean, I get constant about how bad the roads are. We have very little control over those roads because they're mostly state roads. But the problem is, you go up a road and you see the same signs for all colors. So when I first got here, I was going down driveways. People would look at me weird that I was down a driveway. I thought it was a road because it had the green sign. I think we need to look at, and you have the power to do this because it's an ordinance, correct? Sign ordinance.
It's actually in the road naming ordinance.
Right. We've got to get to the blue for private roads, green for state roads, brown for county roads. It'll cut down and tell people where they should go.
Can we do that, or is that a county ordinance that they need to pass?
I thought the road naming ordinance does go to the county for action without planning commission. But one time before, we helped them with the 911 addressing, which is also part of that. Not the 911 addressing, sorry, that is a part of that, but we helped them do some amendments according to state law about road name changes and naming new roads. And I think we brought that to y'all just to review, more of a courtesy.
Well, you have the
And
power.
as a part of that.
Courtesy, you're the one that does the planning. That's all, you know. How we do it, I don't know. But I think that's a good idea.
I
And
think we talked about it before,
Yeah.
because you mentioned that to me, and I mentioned it here.
And believe me, I'm not here all the time, but I'm here because I look at every video. Because you see what you do, I see in 2 weeks at least, 2 or 3 weeks. I see that. That's why I ask questions. So when you ask we saying negatives, or whether the negatives or what, I ask those questions. Like, is it a fish pond or is it a pond? Well, up to Gilsonville, we stopped that pond because it was a mine. They had no idea that fish pond was not going to be a fish pond, or at least guaranteed to be a fish pond, until we said, hey, follow the guidelines by DNR to do a fish pond. We don't have a fish pond there. We don't have anything there except the virgin territory. So, anyway, I'm willing to talk. Give me a call. You all have my number. It's on the website. We'll talk. I really wish you would take the initiative to call Hardyville and say, they're willing. If you need the number, I got the numbers. Just meet them.
I know recently I've been getting their agenda for their meeting.
And Brandon and I have talked about right after Christmas trying to schedule a joint meeting
Well, it's a joint thing, you know.
for the planning commission.
And it gives you another sounding board. They can talk to you, you can talk to them. If you've got a question about something, maybe you can talk to them and they can give you an idea. Just as much as they can give you, you can give them an idea. And you're keyed in just as much. Tell you the truth, you're keyed in more to this Jasper part of it than Hardyville doesn't have. They have fuel, but you have the pulse of Jasper County. Right? So that's what I'm going to do. I am the chairman right now. I'm trying to be inclusive to everybody. I'm trying to be active, more active than I was, and that's it. And according to our ordinances, the chairman is supposed to be here, or supposed to be participating. The word is participating in the planning commission.
Mr.
I have a
Chairman,
question. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
ladies first.
I just wanted to know whether or not the people down in the Levy area, how much the tap-in fee will be for them, or is that going to be covered under the grant?
I'm not sure because we haven't got the grant back. We've only applied for the grant.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really, in fact, I'm having a meeting next week, I think it is. There's a meeting, and we'll be discussing that. We're just waiting for the grant.
Somebody's, one of your colleagues said that they could get a sewer down near, on the Pearsburg Road, but it was thousands of dollars to tap in.
That's right. And that's one of the things that I brought out, that, you know, here we are going to put a sewer, we're going to extend the sewage down into that area, but who's going to put it in? Right? It was I think it was $8,000. I think yours was $8,000 or something like that down there.
No, it was one of the mobile homeowners down that road that you know, down Pearsburg Road. It was the one that shared that, and I don't remember. I just remember I was blown away by the number, and it was thousands of dollars. And
right.
I want to say over 10 for him to hook in.
Well, this committee, the underserved committee, is always, the benefit of this is they look for grants, more grants. The reason they found the grant, and they said it was not a Buford Jasper ability to get that grant, but they came to us through our representatives and said, hey, we could do it, Jasper County. So between Jasper County and Buford Jasper Water, produced a grant request and went to, I don't know who the grant was from.
Wasn't it?
Storm.
Was it EPA?
EPA grant, that's right. EPA grant.
Buford Jasper got a grant and did some work near Stony Creek in Buford County. So I guess.
Well, that's really, to tell you the truth, Stony Creek keyed this one in because they said we did it in Stony Creek, we got to do it in Jasper.
Well, that's good. At least they'll have an opportunity.
And I show up at every meeting, so if they have a problem, if you have a problem, let me know. I'll ask for people.
Mr. Chairman, just two little short questions. I remember when I think Mr. Pinkman would remember when we first came to commission, we've had, and you're right, you're 100% right that us in Hardyville has to do a better job of community. But I remember Dr. Hood and Ms. White had put something in the rules in the county council, was a 5-mile radius. Lisa, you
The
remember that?
intergovernment agreement for the joint plan.
It was mandatory that we met with Hardyville workers once a month. It was a 5-mile radius, and it worked.
Well,
County council institute that.
Yeah, we put 2 members on to serve, 2 of the members from Jasper County.
White down to Hardyville.
We don't have a planning commission. I don't think we have that anymore, do we?
We don't have that.
It's on the, but believe it,
But
it's on the ordinances because I'm part of it.
It's in the zoning text, but the actual ordinance was rescinded for the joint planning boards, which you had the southern Jasper County, which was Hardyville and 2 Jasper County members, and then you had Ridgeland, which was Ridgeland and 2 Jasper
Don't let that
County
stop you.
members.
I mean, you can do it on your own.
Right, because I remember Dr. Hood and Ms. White sent me and another planning commission down there to help them establish their planning commission. It was a lady with the red hat, I can't remember her name. But that was a good thing. And secondly, I get the question all the time that when we pay taxes, people tell me this, they take $20 out of our taxes for road.
Correct.
People need to understand that a state road or dirt road.
20.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Why they not fixing the road? They're taking $20 when I pay taxes.
What road do you want to fix?
Well, there's a lot. I'll tell you, there's a lot.
No, wait, really. I just want to. I'm going to show you what road do you want fixed. Well, tell me what road.
Yeah, but I think when the county take it, I think we talking about dirt road, right?
Right, only dirt roads.
Right.
Oregon County roads.
That's what
that $20 cannot go anyplace else.
Right,
that's dirt road.
That's right.
I just want.
Yeah, but a lot of people got that misconception that
I don't understand. I've been to places where they've told us we were stealing money.
Yeah,
we didn't fix their state road.
Right.
But I'll tell you, we passed a referendum, right? And I went to the Columbia, my first time doing Columbia, and we asked for $38 million more for exit 3. Right? We got the $38 million. Buford went there, and they gave an extension to March 31st because they didn't pass the referendum. We put skin in the game, they did not. And Charleston lost $300 million because they didn't put any skin in the game. They lost the referendum, and they couldn't find the money to participate. So the Civ, which is where the money comes from, pulled their whole $300 million out. So there are benefits. We have a $38 million benefit already. Look at it that way. Yes. You're waiting for me.
No.
Okay. I thought
for him to acknowledge me. I'm speaking strictly as a lifelong native of Jasper County, born here, raised here, worked here, and all that good stuff. Now I live in the southern area, live in Sun City. And I would ask my council, see how that area is just growing and growing. And after a while, the natives of Jasper County is going to be extinct.
That's right.
So what I would like for our council to do and to think about, so we could have representation and not be pushed aside, is to consider single-member district. And that's all I got to say. This is just as a personal, nothing to do with these guys. I would like for you to consider that.
We'll talk after.
I'll agree
We'll
100%.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. If you
But
want to
let
adjourn,
me
that's
put it
fine
this
with
way.
me.
Right now, you don't have it, but, you know, you do have a representative. Who is it? Who's your representative?
You're talking about on the council? The gentleman from that took Mr. Garbage's place? Is that who you're talking about?
No.
He represents you, Ben Giza?
Oh, you're talking about down in,
Where, you're in Sun City, right?
Yeah.
You know, who's your representative from?
you're not my representative?
No.
The Jasper County
I
side.
am because I'm at large, but who's your representative?
He's in the Sun City.
Marty Sauls is your representative.
Oh, okay.
See, we have to get used to, you have single-member district, that's fine, but until that happens, know your representative, call him,
Yeah.
right? That's the same thing. When I go down to Levy now, it went from Barbara Clark to Joe Arzillo. Now Joe Arzillo is keyed in, so when they have meetings, he's there. I'm there.
Well, you know,
We're trying to be inclusive.
That's fine what you just said, but you have to realize also that the people all over vote on a particular person. So even though he may be my representative, he is going for the way he can get the most votes, and that may not be in my best interest. Well, I'm not going to get all into that, but you know what I'm talking
I
about.
know.
He has to live in
I'm
your
sorry.
district.
I don't want,
He has to live in my district, but everybody votes for him.
Yeah.
Oh, I know
So he
that.
goes where he gets the most votes.
But only somebody that lives in your district
I
can run
understand.
for that seat.
But everybody can
The
vote.
district been redrawn and gerrymandered.
But anyway, let's talk about that enough. That's
Let-
politics.
That's politics. I don't want to be I want to be forward on Jasper County.
Okay.
I want to be inclusive. I want to be positive. We have too much non things that should not happen. We're getting personal. I don't want to be personal. It's business. You may not like me, or you may like me. I may love you, but I don't like your position. I still can say, let's have a cup of coffee.
Okay.
That's what I need. Because in dialogue, we get success. If we fight, or if we don't listen to each other, we're nowhere. We're just going to be fighting.
Okay.
So, but anyway, all I can say is please, please, let's get with Hartville. Make that a priority. You'll be much better off. Because if somebody comes to me, they come to me, not to you. Well, they do, but they come to me. Say why. So, anyway, any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
I thank you. I appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Right? You spend time just like we do. And you're right, we should go out and look at the places. I go out to every place.
Yeah.
I go out, my wife never goes with me anymore, because when I had that flat tire, I called AAA and they told me 10 o'clock the next morning.
Wow.
So I had to call a friend to come up and get me. So, anyway, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
No further discussion?
Chairman Pinckney, I'm so sorry, I know the hour's getting late. Just real quickly, I'd like to tell you about this. We passed out. We had a meeting today with some South Carolina DOT, Craig Wynn and the KRI who did the design for I-95 widening. They are working now on what they call segment 2, which is from exit 8 to exit 21. They're doing that design. They're having a drop-in public meeting January 30th at the Hardyville Recreation Center from 5 to 7. They want us to spread the word. They want public input. There will be a second meeting in Ridgeland at the Ridgeland Senior Center, February 6th from 4 to 6. On this thing we gave you, this flyer, sorry, there's a project website address. You can go to that and read all about the projects. But they want us to spread the word, and they want to receive comments, and comments are officially open. They open up tomorrow for comments, and they run through February 14th. That's all I
Is this
have.
going to include exit 8 or no?
So segment 1 was from the Georgia line to exit 8.
Right.
So that's been designed. They're hoping to let that project out no later than March of this year.
So they had a meeting to discuss exit. I went to one meeting and I don't remember, but they had one recently, didn't they, to discuss, present exit?
They did for some alternatives as they were doing the design, and now they're down to just like maybe 3 alternatives for one exit and 2 for the other. And one thing they really want to hear from people about is the pedestrian bridge, Juanita White pedestrian bridge. Like, how does anyone use it? You know, because they're going to widen the interstate, and that bridge, it doesn't go across 6 lanes of traffic.
Crosswalk.
Yeah.
The crosswalk, that's right. So that's one thing they're very interested in hearing from the public about. But I just want to encourage you to attend these meetings if you can. Again, you can go on the website and you can leave public comment there as well. So
When you said widen, another lane, maybe 6 lanes?
I-95, yes,
Six lanes?
being widened.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're hoping to see segment 1 get underway this year. Now, this meeting is about the design of segment 2, which is from exit 8 to exit 21.
You know, what's surprising to me is when I went to the meeting, I was real concerned about the pedestrian traffic at exit 5. I've actually seen a mother pushing her child in a stroller on that tiny little median on the top of 95, and I don't think there was any consideration of pedestrian traffic. I've not seen anything.
They seem to think it was kind of unsafe for pedestrians.
Kind of.
Yep. They said there are several things that could happen and go wrong,
But-
and just
But
the
they
safety
didn't,
factors.
for exit 5, I don't think they, which has, I would
I'm
assume, a
sorry, I
lot
was
more
thinking of-
pedestrian traffic.
This other pedestrian bridge, okay, yeah.
I think another thing would be nice too is overpasses.
And they're gonna put up message boards tomorrow for the community at exit 18 and exit 21, advertising these meetings. They don't wanna put a message board on I-95. So they'll be like at off I-95 at the exits.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman, I make a motion we stand adjourned.
Second.
We stand adjourned to our next scheduled meeting.